CBS News on the Hour.
I'm Gary Nunn. Second day of the government shutdown. No signs of progress are apparent amid some talk of a short-term solution to a funding measure. The frustration level is very high in Washington and outside.
It's kind of political posturing, I believe. It's been that way for a few years, at least this last year.
CBS's Mola Lenghi.
They've got hashtags. There are websites. There's Schumer shutdown. There's the Trump shutdown. Everybody's trying to brand this thing, and it's become more of a thing of blame than it is to try to sit at the table and try to hammer out a deal. We've seen less talking to each other and more talking at each other. And what they're talking at each other it seems to all be blame at this point.
Both House and Senate met yesterday. Both are back in session this afternoon. The vice president's on a peace mission in the Middle East. CBS's Robert Berger.
Vice President Mike Pence met with Jordan's King Abdullah in Amman amid Arab anger over the U.S. decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Pence says his message to Arab leaders is that the U.S. remains committed to achieving peace between Israel and the Palestinians. The vice president will hold talks in Israel on Monday and Tuesday, but the Palestinians are boycotting the visit. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Gunmen dressed in Army uniforms stormed an Intercontinental Hotel in Kabul last night, exchanging gunfire with security forces for about 13 hours. The siege that ended in the death of at least 5 civilians. James Reed of the BBC says that the attack was not a complete surprise.
Questions are being asked about how the militants managed to get past security to begin their assault on Saturday evening. It came just days after the U.S. Embassy warned of possible attacks on hotels in Kabul.
6 people were injured. The Taliban is claiming responsibility. The flu season has peaked earlier than usual. 14,000 cases reported last week, 74,000 so far this season. CBS News correspondent Nikki Batiste reports some hospitals are over capacity.
Questions are being asked.
A few California hospitals built tents outside to cater to patient overflow.
Offer each other a sign of Christ, please.
Some churches are telling parishioners to skip holding hands during prayer to avoid germs. And all schools in Bonham, Texas closed for a week after flu cases there soared.
Leading the Screen Actors Guild Awards, the film 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri with 4.
I don't think those billboards is very fair.
Time it took you to get out here whining like a bitch, Willoughby. Some other poor girl's probably out there being butchered right now.
Including Best Actress Frances McDormand and Woody Harrelson, Best Supporting Actor. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio, honored with the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence. Original reporting, right here on CBS News Radio.
Hello, I'd like to deposit this to checking.
Fate is a fickle master.
What?
The future is uncertain.
Okay, and what's my account balance?
The horizon is cloudy. I see a long, treacherous voyage filled with great peril.
Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I see a yellow-eyed serpent and a low APR.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely, abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
For anyone willing and eager to invest in a startup, there are some promising places to begin.
If you're feeling entrepreneurial, think cryptocurrency, cannabis, and virtual reality. Online design marketplace 99 Designs says they're among the hottest emerging industries for startups. Bitcoin has helped interest in crypto business soar by more than 450% over the past couple of years. With pot now legal in more than half of U.S. states, cannabis has sprouted 55%. There's been a 38% increase in new players in the virtual reality game. Boutique hotels, Airbnb, and van rentals up too. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Missouri Republican Governor Eric Greitens says he has no plans to resign following fallout from an affair with his former hairdresser. The FBI is investigating allegations of blackmail in what he describes as a consensual relationship. The scope of the inquiry is still unclear. Gary Nunn, CBS News.
And good Monday evening. We're now at 4 minutes after 9 o'clock. Under cloudy skies and temperature at 35 degrees here in Kirksville. Elsewhere across the Show Me State this evening, we see cloudy skies and some areas of precipitation in the form of rain mixing with and changing to snow. As a matter of fact, cloudy skies and at the freezing mark at KCI Airport. Light snow and 32 degrees in Lee's Summit and in St. Joe. 36 in Chillicothe. Cloudy 35 degrees in Springfield. 36 and cloudy in Joplin. 39 cloudy in Branson. 36 and cloudy at the state capitol. Elsewhere, light snow. 34 degrees in Sedalia. Rolla and Warrensburg both checking in with 34 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. 42 in St. Louis. Light rain. 47 degrees at Poplar Bluff. 46 and cloudy at Cape Girardeau. 39 degrees under cloudy skies in West Plains. And our forecast is calling for a continuation of rain and snow mix in the Kirksville, Missouri region for at least another couple of hours, and then a chance of all snow between now and 2 a.m. Otherwise, cloudy skies with overnight lows dropping down into the upper 20s. Northwesterly winds at about 10 to 20 miles an hour with wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour still possible. Little or no snow accumulation expected. And then for tomorrow, looks like we'll see a return to more traditional conditions for this time of year, in the form of winter, that is, with mostly cloudy skies and a daytime high in the mid-30s. We'll have complete details on the weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes. In the meantime, take a look at news on this Monday evening. Kirksville business owner Bert Bird will be spending the next 2 years in prison after he was sentenced earlier today for bank fraud. Federal prosecutors recommended a sentence of 33 months, while Beard's attorney, asked for the court for 12 months and 1 day. The judge split the difference at 24 months in addition to 5 years of probation after Beard's release from prison and pay full restitution. Beard, one of the owners of Beard's Decorating Center in Kirksville, pleaded guilty in September of last year to fraudulently paying himself more than $380,000 while serving as volunteer treasurer for the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity at the University of Missouri-Columbia campus. The sentencing terms call for Beard to pay a $100 fine immediately and allows the payment of the full $380,502 owed for restitution to be made in monthly installments. While incarcerated, the payments will be made in increments of $25 or 10% of Beard's earnings, whichever is greater. Beginning 30 days after he's released on probation, Beard will be required to pay monthly payments of $100 or 10% of his gross income, whichever is greater. Judge Stephen Bow recommended Beard be incarcerated at the federal facility in Marion, Illinois. Beard must report to prison by March 5th. A Northeast Missouri man is in jail after police say he kidnapped a juvenile from Omaha, Nebraska earlier this month. 23-year-old E.T. Gare of Milan was taken into custody Saturday morning. Gare is believed to be the boyfriend of the victim, 12-year-old Paul Koo of Omaha, Nebraska. Her parents reported her missing on January 9th. Late last Friday night, the Missouri State Highway Patrol, along with officers from the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department, were contacted by Nebraska authorities with information that Koo was possibly in the Milan, Missouri area. Police served a search warrant to a residence where she was believed to be. Inside the home, Paul Koo was found in good condition. She was then placed into protective custody. According to online court documents, E.T. Gare has been charged with statutory rape and attempted statutory rape, along with child kidnapping. He is currently being held in the Sullivan County Jail. Meanwhile, North Missouri residents, along with law enforcement officials, continue to search for a missing woman last seen at a Kirksville grocery store Friday evening. The Kirksville Police Department issued an endangered person advisory for 20-year-old Courtney M. Shear, who has been missing since Friday evening. Courtney M. Shear was last seen walking away from the Kirksville Hy-Vee parking lot at around 7:45. Kirksville Police Department officials say that Shear is known to abuse drugs and is a diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. In addition, Shear most likely does not have her medications on her, Police add that Shearer has contacts in the Kansas City, Missouri area. Courtney M. Shearer is a white female, 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs approximately 130 pounds. She has brown hair and hazel eyes. Ms. Shearer was last spotted wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and black pants. If you have any information about her whereabouts, please contact the Kirksville Police Department at area code 660-785-6945. Again, that's 660-785-6945, or call 911 to reach the nearest law enforcement agency. Meanwhile, an update on a story that came to news media attention late last year. Repairs to damaged headstones continues at the Forest Llewellyn Cemetery in Kirksville. Assistant City Manager Ashley Young gave an update to the City Council last week. He says about 90 headstones have been repaired following vandalism that was discovered last summer. A reward of $1,100 is still available for anyone who has information leading to the apprehension of the suspect or suspects involved in that vandalism. Last fall, the City of Kirksville approved fencing projects for the cemetery and the Kirksville Fire Department's training facility. The fencing will stretch from the southwest corner of the intersection of Centennial and West Missouri Streets and run south to the front gates of the cemetery. A Northeast Missouri man was facing charges of assault and kidnapping. 47-year-old David Edward Terry of Cahokia was taken into police custody late last week. Mr. Terry is charged with first-degree assault, a Class A felony, and second-degree kidnapping, a Class D felony. David Edward Terry was arrested last Thursday after he was attempting to hide from officers. He remains in the Clark County Jail in Cahokia on $100,000 cash-only bond. Meanwhile, in central Missouri, an armed robbery took place on the 1600 block of Kitty Hawk Drive early this morning in Columbia. The Columbia Police Department says that 2 armed black males between the ages of 20 and 30 years of age approached 4 victims and demanded money. The 2 males took an undisclosed amount of cash before fleeing the area on foot. The suspects were wearing dark clothing and had a cloth covering their faces. If you have any information that could help authorities identify these robbers, please contact the Columbia Police Department at 573-874-7652. That's 573-874-7652, or call Crime Stoppers at 573-875-TIPS. That's 573-875-TIPS if you wish to remain anonymous. And a Columbia man has been arrested in relation to a double shooting at a Waffle House on New Year's Day. 29-year-old Matthew Callier McMillan was located Saturday in Kansas City and subsequently arrested by officers of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department on an outstanding felony warrant, which included charges for felony murder in the second degree, first-degree assault, and felony armed criminal action. Bond for Matthew Callier McMillan was set at $1 million, cash only. And as you heard briefly on CBS Radio News just a few moments ago, Missouri Governor Eric Greitens says there was no blackmail or threatened violence in an extramarital affair that he had 3 years ago. In his first interview since acknowledging the affair, the Republican governor told the Associated Press on Saturday that he will not resign. St. Louis TV station KMOV-TV broke the news about the affair shortly after Greitens' State of the State speech last week. Greitens' attorney has denied that his client threatened to release a semi-nude photo of the woman, who was his hairdresser, if she spoke publicly about the affair. But this is the first time that Greitens has personally addressed some of the more lurid allegations against him. Greitens did not directly answer questions about whether he took the photo in question. He said neither he nor his staff have been contacted by the FBI or the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office, which is also investigating the case. Kim Gaines will get to keep her job as superintendent of the North Shelby School District for a few more years. That is because the Board of Education extended her contract during their monthly meeting, which was held last week.
In executive session, the board did offer me another 2-year contract. So I was very thankful for that. I love working here at North Shelby, so I will be here through the 2020 school year.
Gaines was asked what the North Shelby District means to her.
It's all I've known. North Shelby is my home. Of course, my dad was an administrator here for many, many years. It's where I grew up. It's where I've gone to school. My family's now in school here. My son graduated from here. I have 2 grandsons. It's everything to me. It's just a big part of my life. And I'm so proud that I've been able to serve the district for 15 years in different capacities. And it's just the best place in the world to work.
North Shelby School Superintendent Kim Gaines. By the way, the 2 incumbents on the North Shelby School Board were the only people to file for office, so there will be no need for a school board election this April. Meanwhile, the search to find a replacement for retiring West Rand Superintendent Dr. Kelly Shelby is set to move forward next month in Huntsville. Dr. Shelby, who announced last month that he will be retiring at the end of this school year, explains what the West Rand Board of Education has decided to do.
Actually, what the board is going to do, we're going to start the process February the 7th, and we're going to interview some in-house candidates. We have some outstanding in-house candidates that the board kind of wants to interview or visit with as far as to see what their vision may be, moving the district forward.
Dr. Shelby says the West Rand Board has made at least one decision concerning his replacement so far.
At this time, the board has decided not to use one of the search firms, but they may seek outside candidates at a later date. And like I said, I think the board, right now, the main thing they're trying to do is they don't want to rush to a decision. They want to make sure that they take the time to make sure they get a superintendent in here that, fits the district needs and will continue to lead, this great school district well into the future.
West Rand Superintendent Dr. Kelly Shelby. Several program evaluations also took place during last week's board meeting in Huntsville. 16 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Monday night, where we have cloudy skies in Kirksville and 35 degrees and light snowfall across much of northern Missouri and central Missouri. Details on the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Continue with the news. Given the recent controversy surrounding Missouri Governor Eric Greitens, the pace of legislation moving through the General Assembly may be a bit slower than normal. That's the opinion of Brent Gann, a spokesman for the Missouri State School Boards Association.
There are lots of distractions going on in Jeff City right now, and I think that we're going to probably see things grind very slowly, at least for the time being, in the legislature, given the environment that we're in right now.
Gann points out that slower is not necessarily a bad thing.
Put some ideas in place of what we want to get done this year. Right now, we're leaning towards improving the elementary circle drive.
Along with funding, lawmakers are expected to consider a number of education proposals this session, including charter school expansion and vouchers. Hannibal State Representative Lyndall Shoemake says he is in the wait-and-see posture in reaction to the extramarital affairs allegation brought against Missouri Governor Eric Greitens. In fact, Shoemake spoke with the governor just this past week.
The allegations regarding the governor, of course, are concerning, and we've received some news about it, but really not a whole lot more. The governor did call a number of us, and maybe all of us, and I among them, received a call from the governor concerning this. I believe he expressed a genuine regret and humility over the situation, and I assured him that I'm continuing to pray for him and his family, and I certainly hope he can rise above this crisis and be a better public servant as a result.
Shoemake continues to defend the governor.
I'm still in a wait-and-see position regarding this. If nothing more comes about, if there's no new news, it could perhaps work itself out, and I'm hoping that it will. But in between time, we're all watching and waiting.
Hannibal Representative Lyndall Shoemake. In other legislative news from the state of Missouri, a bill is being addressed this week in the Missouri House of Representatives that is focused on giving community colleges the ability to offer baccalaureate degrees to their students. Representative Chuck Basie admits that while there are some good points to this proposed program, there are also a few drawbacks.
It's got to go through a process. They have to be approved by what they call the Coordinating Board of Higher Education. They can approve it or disapprove it as well, but it looks like it's a pretty good idea. It will help some of the community colleges across the state.
The Board of Regents from the University of Missouri would be part of the coordinating board. Basie says there are plenty of benefits for a college, such as Moberly Area Community College.
I think they could take advantage of it to allow certain areas that they teach, certain subject areas. Instead of a student getting a 2-year degree, or I guess they call it an associate's degree, they might be able to append that and get a 4-year degree. And I know from experience, it's just been many years since I did it, but it was much cheaper to attend a community college than it was 4-year university. I think it would really help the Moberly area.
Missouri State Representative Chuck Basie. Missouri Senator Denny Hoskins has filed a bill in the upper chamber that deals with people who have not made their child support payments. The Republican lawmaker says a hearing on the proposal has already taken place in Jefferson City.
Senate Bill 610 is my bill that deals with those individuals that are delinquent in their child support payments. I'm the sponsor of the bill and presented that bill in the Senate Health and Children's Committee this week, and it had a very favorable reception. Basically what the bill does, it says that if you are delinquent in your child support payments, then you do not qualify for SNAP benefits.
Hoskins believes the idea behind his bill only makes sense.
I think it's just common sense that if you as an individual are not meeting your lawful obligations to help provide child support and care for your children, then the state taxpayer should not have to pay for your SNAP benefits. However, if you become current in your child support payments, then those SNAP benefits would continue. It's just trying to incentivize those able-bodied adults that are behind on their legal obligations to pay child support and take care of their children, trying to make sure that they meet those commitments and take care of their children.
Missouri Senator Denny Hoskins, incidentally, SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. The Mexico School Board has decided how to handle the sale of a building the district no longer wishes to own. School Superintendent Dr. Zachary Templeton explains what the Board of Education decided during their meeting earlier this month.
Approved a bid from 2 realtors. We're going to list some property we're trying to sell. We're going to list it dually with 2 local realtors. When we went through some construction over the past year, we built onto one of our elementaries a new early childhood center. So the building that we were using previously for our early childhood, we are in the process of selling it.
The Mexico School Board also passed along some special recognition during last week's monthly meeting.
Recognized our school board members, recognition for the School Board Appreciation Week. We also recognized our school resource officers. We have 2 resource officers, one who primarily works with the high school, Officer Kevin Patrick, and then Officer Alma Hayes works primarily with our elementary school students, and we recognize them, appreciate what they do for the district.
Mexico School Superintendent Dr. Zachary Templeton. The Mexico School Board also had some discussion about an upcoming work session where they will outline budget priorities. During their monthly meeting last Wednesday, the New Franklin Board of Education took care of some items on their agenda, which included a review of the district's facilities. School Superintendent David Haggard explains more about that review process.
Put some ideas in place of what we want to get done this year. Right now, we're leaning towards improving the elementary Circle Drive, repaving that here. But after our building construction this year, we got many things done off our list here last year, so we're just kind of finishing up.
Haggard offers a potential timeline for the repaving project.
We're going to wait and actually see where we are financially here after these expenditures for the building construction here. I kind of want to see where we are here. It'll be sometime in this summer here, early fall perhaps. We discussed a little bit trying to get out ahead of their job list here because sometimes the paving people get pretty busy here. And I said, well, I wanted to wait a couple of months.
New Franklin School Superintendent David Haggard, who anticipates the project will start in late May at the earliest. 23 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Monday evening, cloudy skies, 35 degrees in Kirksville, where we're seeing some light snow here in the city right now. Details on the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. In the meantime, to update you on some more news stories of interest. A 2-vehicle crash this afternoon 2 miles south of Bering in Knox County left a Rutledge man with serious injuries and an Edina man with moderate injuries. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says that 28-year-old Edwin Z. Haldeman of Rutledge drove his pickup into the northbound lane of Highway 15 at around 3:30 this afternoon and struck a pickup driven by 26-year-old Matthew J. Neagle of Edina. Both men were taken to Northeast Regional Medical Center in Kirksville for treatment of their injuries. The patrol was assisted by the Knox County Sheriff's Department, along with the Bering Fire Department. And 2 people were injured this morning during a head-on collision crash a mile south of Edina. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says that a little after 7 a.m., a car driven by 74-year-old Lauren Carricker of Edina crossed the center line of Highway 15 and collided with a car driven by 19-year-old Nicholas McCarty of Herdland. Both drivers sustained minor injuries. Mr. Carricker was treated at the crash scene by Knox County Ambulance District personnel. McCarty was taken to Scotland County Hospital by private vehicle for treatment. One of the yearly responsibilities of the Missouri State Highway Patrol is to inspect school buses throughout the state of Missouri. Sergeant Eric Brown with the Troop B of the Highway Patrol based in Macon says that task should begin in the next couple of weeks.
Starting in February and usually goes to the very first part of May, our Motor Vehicle Inspection Division, with the assistance of troopers and our commercial vehicle officers, will be traveling to various locations all across the state, inspecting all of the school buses that transport our students all year long.
Overall, Brown says the buses generally make good grades.
It's one of the most important things that we can do to ensure that all the vehicles, all the buses, the safety equipment is functioning properly and they're roadworthy. In 2017, our Motor Vehicle Inspection Division inspected 12,047 school buses. We expect that number to be about the same this year. Of the buses inspected in 2017, 90.24% were improved by the inspection personnel, showing that there was no defective items.
Missouri Highway Patrol Sergeant Eric Brown. Hall of Fame Centralia coach, 75-year-old James J. Enlow of Centralia, died Friday at Boone Hospital Center in Columbia. Jim graduated from Hannibal High School and then attended and graduated from Culver Stockton College in 1965. Jim married Janie Ragland on November 6, 1964, and she preceded him to death on October 11, 2014. In March of 2013, Jim Enlow was presented with the Legends Award at the Crest All-Star Basketball Banquet. The coaching legend is still in the state's top 5 for boys and girls basketball combined victories. Enlow started his basketball career at Unionville, Missouri, but arrived in Centralia in 1969. Coaching until 1996, he won 762 games at a nearly 59% clip. The court at Centralia is named for Jim Enlow. He also served as the Parks Director in Centralia for a number of years. Jim Enlow is survived by his son, Jimmy Enlow, and his wife, Shelley of Centralia, and grandsons Jake and Max Enlow. Cheryl Burnett played for Coach Enlow and went on to coach Southwest Missouri State women's basketball.
We in Centralia believe that Jim and Janie Enlow helped raise most of the kids from the 60s all the way to the 2000s due to the fact of them not only being coaches but teachers, and then he hired most of us to work at the pool or at the park, and most recently he was instrumental in getting a recreational building built in Centralia.
A memorial celebration of Coach's life will take place on Saturday, February 10th at 10 a.m. at Centralia High School.
He has a tremendous legacy, and we're giving him a tribute on Saturday, February 10th, in none other than Centralia Gymnasium, which is already named for him. The court is already the Jim Enlow basketball court. What we in Centralia appreciate so much about Coach Enlow is he was also a teacher, so the academic influence to begin with, he was a man of tremendous integrity in everything that he did.
Burnett has a lot more words of praise for Coach as a person and as a coach.
When I look at my life, I always attributed a lot to my parents, Harold and Shirley Burnett, but the next guy that's right up there with them is Jim Enlow, not only in the way he coached, but in his fairness, in his integrity, in his being a role model, and not just coaching, but also in life. In coaching, every time I'd go home, him and I would sit around, we'd talk basketball. I implemented quite a few of the things that we talked about into my program at Southwest Missouri State at the time.
Memorial donations are suggested to Enlow Family Scholarship checks, or check that. Memorial donations are suggested to Enlow Family Scholarship. Checks are to be written to Centralia School District, with Inland Family Scholarship written on the left memo line and can be mailed to the Centralia Board Office at 1399 Highway 22, Centralia, Missouri, 65240. Funeral arrangements are with Fenton Funeral Chapel in Centralia. Earlier this month, the Moberly City Council approved an ordinance dealing with no parking on Gilman Road and South 4th Street. Moberly City Manager Brian Crane says this is part of the upcoming cooperative project around South Park Elementary School.
Yeah, that's part of the project we're doing at South Park School to try to bring about a better system and a safer system for moving traffic and kids through that school zone. So eliminating parking on Gilman where it's very narrow, and then in front of the school where it's congested at times, we think it's going to be a benefit to the whole area.
So far, a timeline for the project has not been set.
You know, our staff's working with their staff right now when you're dealing with weather and school schedules and trying not to be disruptive to the community and to that zone. We're just going to have to keep talking and figure out a good time to get in and do it. We've also got an old water line that we want to replace before we put new concrete down. So we're trying to come up with a good time that works for everybody and for our utility department to actually get in there and remove an old cast iron pipe. We don't want to put down a bunch of concrete and then have an issue with that line.
Crane says the no parking will go into effect when the construction project moves forward. In other news tonight of local interest, the annual Main Street Moberly meeting and awards banquet took place in the Magic City. Executive Director Diane Richardson says everything came together in time for this evening's gathering.
We reflect upon the year, what's happened, what our committees have done, what the board has done, what kind of projects we've had, and kind of talk about where we're going in 2018. So we'll restructure the board a little bit. We have all returning board members. In fact, we have someone that served on the board years ago that is returning. They will have an officer position, and our board structure has pretty much stayed the same. We have more volunteers this year, which was a big focus last year.
Richardson says the executive director of the Moberly Area Chamber of Commerce, Megan Schmidt, was the guest speaker at this evening's meeting. The annual meeting and awards banquet started with a social hour at 5:30 at the Bierman Event Center on North 4th Street in Moberly. Briefly, in national news of interest in the Show Me State, Missouri U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill was among a handful of Democrats in the Senate who voted to support a GOP measure that would have kept the federal government open through at least February 16th. Senator McCaskill was one of 5 Democrats who voted yes on Friday to keep the government open. McCaskill said in a statement after the vote, quote, "It's embarrassing how badly this place is being run," unquote. She says her focus now is ensuring that military service members and veterans are taken care of during any funding lapse. McCaskill is seeking re-election this year in a predominantly Republican state that went for President Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election. The Missouri race could be crucial in control of the U.S. Senate, where the GOP has a slim majority of 51 Senate seats. In farm news tonight, after years of study and pilot testing, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is proposing a new voluntary swine slaughter inspection system. USDA reporter Gary Crawford fills us in on the details of that plan.
A new inspection system that market hog slaughter plants could voluntarily adopt, and some new pathogen testing requirements mandatory for all plants. That's all in a proposal just out from the Agriculture Department. The new voluntary system would give establishments more leeway in setting up their own food safety assurance system adapted to their unique situations. Agriculture Department food safety official Carmen Rottenberg told us the new rules would, for example, have the plant personnel sorting out and tagging carcasses with obvious physical and other defects before they go through the processing line.
And have our inspectors do what our inspectors should be doing, which is verifying that the establishment is producing the safe and wholesome product.
The new system would have no restrictions on processing line speeds, but
if there's any issues that the line inspector has, the inspector can slow down the line, the inspector can stop the line.
USDA has been pilot testing this new system in 5 plants, results showing fewer potential food safety problems in those plants. Rottenberg says USDA will take public comments on the proposed system for 60 days, then review the comments
and determine where we go from there.
Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
Thank you very much, Gary. It's a pleasure as always. Mexican states are now able to legally export pork into the United States. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, or APHIS, recognized Mexico as free of classical swine fever after the completion of a risk assessment done at the request of the Mexican government. About 10 years ago, Mexico requested access to the U.S. for pork exports, but APHIS at the time said the country's control program for the viral disease was not sufficient enough to allow for trade. A grant through USDA's Foreign Agriculture Service provide Mexican officials training in foreign animal disease diagnostics, and a follow-up review by the World Organization for Animal Health has determined that Mexico is free of the disease. Meanwhile, South America's JBS says its USA Food Company has agreed to sell all of its Five Rivers cattle feeding operations to a U.S. management company for $200 million. Company officials state the buyer is Pinnacle Asset Management, a private New York-based investment advisor. The sale includes 11 feed yards in Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, with feeding capacity of more than 900,000 animals. JBS USA will keep its agreement to buy cattle from the Five Rivers feed yards. The sale is tied in with the SA's bribery scandal settlement, in which it has to pay more than a $3 billion fine. Although meat and poultry production are expected to rise from 2017 levels, price prospects for meat animal producers have improved. With more on the story, I switch it over once again to the folks at the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Year-over-year forecast in U.S. meat production continue to increase per the Agriculture Department's January report.
When you look at year to year, we're talking about increasing overall meat production by more than 3 billion pounds, so you might expect a little bit of softening of prices year over year to go along with that.
Yet as World Agricultural Outlook Board Chair Seth Meyer points out,
demand has remained pretty good, so the year-over-year price declines aren't very large.
So, for example,
we do expect a decline of about a little over $3, for instance, on the steer price. However, we added $1 to it this month, so now we're talking about $118.25 a hundredweight just from the strength we've observed and our expectation that strength will continue into the first half of this year.
Likewise, hog prices increased a quarter from the previous month, and broiler prices rose 2 cents from December. Meyer says consumer demand over the last 2 months is behind the recent rise in meat animal prices. I'm Ron Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Thank you very much, Rod. And I'll have more news in just a moment. In the meantime, take a look at commodity reports for today from the closing grain and livestock futures for the 22nd day of January. First of all, March corn contracts closed at $3.52 a bushel, down a half penny. March soybeans closed at $9.84 1/4, up 7 cents. March soybean meal closed at $3.3860, up $7. March soybean oil closed at $32.16, down 12 points. March wheat closed at $4.25 3/4, up 3 cents. Switching to the Mercantile Exchange, February live cattle closed at $123.55, up $1.65 per head. February lean hogs closed at $71.80, down 27 cents. February crude oil closed at $63.49, up 12 cents. March cotton closed at $83.41, down 1 point. March rice closed at $12.18, down 2.5 cents. February Class 3 milk closed at $13.60, up 4 cents. And February gold closed at $1,331.90, down $1.20. Finally, the Dow Jones Industrials average closed at 26,214.6 points, up 142.88 points. And that's your closing market information for this Monday. In the meantime, in case you missed the story over the weekend, former Moberly Area Community College Greyhounds coaches and players were back in the Magic City this weekend to celebrate the last 23 years of Greyhound basketball, going all the way back to the start of Kenny Seifert's tenure as head coach. One of the returning players in Moberly was Marty Wise, who missed a flight last year to his own induction ceremony into the Greyhounds Hall of Fame.
I couldn't miss this flight at all. We'd have heard from too many people about not being here, so I had to be here.
Wise played for the Greyhounds from 2003 through 2005. The All-American shares what he remembers most about his time in Moberly.
The fans, the atmosphere of the basketball games, the knowledge of basketball that the fans had, and you can interact with anybody, any time of the day, anywhere in the street, and they would know Greyhound basketball and no basketball, period.
By the way, the Lady Hounds and Greyhounds both swept Mineral area Saturday night. Meantime, on this Monday evening, let's take a look at the weather forecast. Rain and snow is likely to continue for at least another hour to hour and a half, and then a chance of snow between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Cloudy skies otherwise, with overnight lows in the upper 20s. Northwesterly winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour, with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Little or no snow accumulation is expected at this time. And then for tomorrow through Monday, it looks like we'll see a mostly dry period. Cloudy skies returning for tomorrow. Mostly sunny in the afternoon, but much cooler temperatures for daytime highs of a high tomorrow of only 36 degrees, so about what we're feeling right now. Northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour with wind gusts up to about 25 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy Tuesday night, lows in the lower 20s. West to northwesterly winds at about 5 to 10. Sunny skies Wednesday, highs in the upper 30s to lower 40s, lows in the upper 20s. West to northwesterly winds shifting to the south and southwest by Wednesday night. Sunny skies Thursday and Friday. Warmer temperatures returning, highs in the lower 50s, lows in the mid to upper 30s. For Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, calling for mostly sunny skies, highs in the low to mid 40s, lows in the low to mid 20s. Sunny skies on Monday with a high near 40 degrees. Take a look at the weather almanac for today. Sunrise this morning was at 7:27. Sunset is was at 5:17 this evening. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:26. Sunset is at 5:18. Normal high for the state, 36 degrees. Normal low of 17. Today we reached a high of 55. That was as of 12:50 this morning. Morning low of 33. Or check that the minimum for the past 24 hours was 33 degrees, set just a little before 6 o'clock tonight. And as far as precipitation is concerned, today we picked up 0.15 of an inch of precipitation, mostly in the form of light rain and drizzle. However, that has changed to snow. And for the month, we've picked up 0.94 of an inch of precipitation, which is the same for the year, of course, because we're still in January. Right now, take a look at conditions across the Show Me State. And we see a mixed bag of precipitation, mostly in the form of lighter snow to the west and a little bit of light rain to the south. In the meantime, cloudy skies and 32 degrees at KCI Airport. Light snow in downtown Kansas City at 34 degrees. Light snow and 32 at Lee Summit. 32 with light snow in St. Joe. 36 in Chillicothe. 34 and cloudy at the Kirksville Regional Airport. 35 in Springfield. 36 in Joplin. 39 in Branson. Cloudy skies, 34 degrees at the Columbia Regional Airport. 36 and cloudy at the State Capitol. Cloudy, 34 degrees in Rolla. Light snow, 34 degrees in Sedalia. Light rain and 33 at Whiteman Air Force Base. 34 and cloudy at Warrensburg and Osage Beach. Elsewhere, light rain, 42 degrees in St. Louis. 42 and partly cloudy at St. Charles. And in southern Missouri, cloudy skies with 46 degrees in Cape Girardeau. That seems to be the warmest reading. Light rain, 37 at Farmington. Light rain, 47 degrees at Poplar Bluff. 39 with cloudy skies at West Plains. Here at the Joe Hafner Media Studios, it's 36 degrees under cloudy skies, where winds are out of the west at about 7 miles per hour. Relative humidity up to 100%, which is producing some light fog. Barometric pressure also on the rise, now at 29.53 inches of mercury, with a wind chill index reading of 28 degrees. 36 degrees in Kirksville at 17 minutes away from 10 o'clock. That's been the latest in news and weather information for this Monday evening. I'm your armchair news reporter and presenter, Joe Hafner, thanking you for your time. As my time is up, I'll see you tomorrow.